To welcome and introduce Deb Hymers this morning. Our paths have crossed over the past 30 years. It started off, I taught Deb's children, and then we taught together. And for the past 12 years, we partnered with the Veggie Plant Fundraiser. Deb has been an educator for 27 years and founded InStep in 2002. She uses her knowledge and experience in education and program development to train others to deliver InStep. Eat, walk, live in their communities. Deb uses her endless energy and drive to lead a team of individuals passionate about improving children's health. InStep master trainers in various provinces are all part of her leadership team, working collectively and collaboratively to improve the health of today's children, who will be tomorrow's adults. Please welcome Deb Hymers.
Thank you, Mark. Kushnar, come on up here. I'd like to introduce, if you haven't met, my mentee, UFC rotor actor, Kushnar. Kushnar, just introduce yourself and tell them what you're studying.
Hi, I'm Kushnar, and I'm in my third year at the University of Calgary, and I'm studying microbiology right now.
Great. Okay, so you're going to be the click person. Okay, there we go.
And I'm a clicker.
She is part of it. And our goal is really for prevention of chronic disease. Oh, sorry. Our goal is really about prevention of chronic disease. And this picture is from November 9th, 2025. A group of Scholars Academy at U of C who are taking Chef on InStep, working with different agencies such as YMAP, Pembroke Trellis, throughout it, and so we're just providing them support so that they can be delivering our content. Next slide, please. Okay.
You can take me.
Can I take off? All right, here we go. We are about healthy eating and activity, so now you're going to get a bit of activity. Stand up if you had a great breakfast. You can sit down now, and that takes work. Stand up if you brushed your teeth this morning. Thank goodness. Stand up if you're familiar with the term ultra-processed food. Good. Okay, awesome. Next slide, please. This is a very short timeline of how InStep got started and the number of children that we have impacted since 2010 to 2025. And it really is about that knowledge transfer and support, and especially incorporating the content, integrating it into core math, science, social studies, language arts. But we've taken a little direction after COVID. So 100,251 children and youth. Yes, Mark, we were in 3 provinces, 13 different school districts, but we are primarily in Calgary, Edmonton, and Surrey, BC now. Next one. And this is the stat that drives me crazy, that by 2040, up to 70% of Canadian adults over 40 years of age will be overweight or obese, and our kids and grandkids are not all right. And it's not the excess weight, it is the chronic diseases that are associated with that excess weight, meaning type 2 diabetes, cancer, heart and stroke. And what's going to happen when all of those young adults do not have the time to be working? What will our labor shortages look like then? Next one. So how did I start there? In 2002, the World Health Organization stated this is the first generation of children that will die before their parents due to preventable nutritional diseases. And at that time, I was teaching junior high science with Mark at Alboya, grade 9, and I thought, it doesn't matter how much I inspire my students to love science. If their food and activity choices are poor, it will diminish the quality of their lives as they grow into adults. So I decided I could do something. So I took a leave of absence, and that's how I got started developing InStep. And then in 2009, Calgary Catholic supervisor said to me, Deb, I want you to teach your teachers how to fish, not give them fish. And that changed the way that we were delivering our program and created a professional development model that you can think of as train the trainer. Because teachers never get this content in their undergrad degree, but they're expected to teach it. So I wanted to create something that was useful, that you could use that afternoon, have the materials and resources, translator resources into different languages, especially for newcomers. Next one, please. You can go again. So Lancet, April 2024, obesity has become the most prevalent form of malnutrition across the globe, and it is about affecting children and youth everywhere, with rates soaring among men, women, children, and teenagers since 1990. Next one. November 2025. Ultra-processed food became a term that was developed by a researcher in Brazil in 2016, and he wanted to examine what happens to food when it's actually just manufactured from different substances, and what does that affect on the individual consuming that. Next one. This is a slide from Dr. Valerie Terechuk, and what it shows is that food secure means you have the most amount of money, there's no barrier for you to getting to the grocery store, that you have access to vegetables and fruit. And then that is in the pinky bar. The orange bar is the most severely insecure. Lack of money, a lack of transportation, a whole bunch of barriers to it. But you can tell by the number of servings that nobody is getting the number of servings of vegetables and fruit they should be getting. So we would like to see them up to 6. Show me your fist. That's 2 servings of vegetables and fruit. Could you eat that? Oh yeah. Show me your other fist. That's 2 servings of rice and pasta. When I show that to people, they're going, oh, that's not enough, Deb. And you know what? A variety of different things. But this graph is showing that no one is getting enough vegetables and fruit. And it's those vegetables and fruit that we'll discuss about why it's important. We look at whole foods and how they are nourishing our brain, and then there are some examples of those ultra-processed foods that are not going to provide the nutrients to make our brain function. And that's really what we want people to understand, why nutrition and activity build better brains. Your brain is the master of your universe. Next one. This is a busy slide. I'll try and explain it very slowly. So when we look on the y-axis, you can see all of those micronutrients, all the minerals, all the vitamins, and then we're looking at whole foods. And you can see from those bar graphs that it's a percentage of nutrients, that you're getting lots of nutrients. And they're using examples like kiwi fruit, kale, salmon, lentils. And then the ultra-processed foods, what does the bar graph look like? Not very much, is it? Right? Sorry?
Yeah, it's all been bleached.
Yeah, exactly. They just don't have it, right? Next slide, please. And how are we doing overall? So this is about the percentage of caloric intake from ultra-processed food. I got this slide from Dr. Bonnie Kaplan, who's an amazing Calgarian researcher. 48%, and this is based on the Canadian Community Health Survey of 2017, is 48%. So that's a long time ago. But it takes a lot of work to look into Stats Canada data to be able to extract that. In the United States from 2021, 67% for children, ages 2 to 19, consuming ultra-processed food. Next one. This is a slide from Dr. Bonnie Kaplan. This is a biochemical slide. I'll try to make it easy to understand. Ignore all the long 5-hydroxytryptophan. Okay, can I go over here? Yeah. Yeah. So here is an instep plate, and half the plate is vegetables and fruit. We wanted to make our program so it was easy for children to be able to identify food, right? And particularly starting at a young age. So we made sure that they could identify a banana, a carrot. Half the plate, 50%, which is the same as Canada's food guide, should be vegetables and fruit. But our change is we talk about others. And that 10% of your plate, 9 out of 10 choices from the 3 food groups. And it's okay to have a treat. Did you have any ketchup today? Yep. That would belong in another. Did you have any jam? Yes. What about those delicious eggs and tomatoes? two food groups, protein and vegetables and fruit, right? The other piece that we have is this orange border on the bottom. And you will notice white rice, white pasta, baguette. If you are Southeast Asian and white rice is your staple, but you do not see it on Canada's food guide, you feel your food is not good. But it is, because you can add vegetables and fruit and protein and improve the quality of that white rice. And because of that, we've created cultural plates for different cultures. We have a Nigerian plate, a Sudanese plate, a Mexican plate, a Filipino plate, so that those students and children and youth families can recognize their food is healthy. So tryptophan is an essential nutrient. Essential means that you have to eat it. Can you click first? But notice in yellow, you need 3 minerals, iron, phosphorus, and calcium, that you get from the soil that goes into the plants. We eat the plants, or animals eat the plants, and that's how we get it. And that cofactor, iron, phosphorus, and calcium with an enzyme, takes you to the next step. Next one. And then you need vitamin B6 to get to the next step. Next. Another again for B6. Next. And then you need 2 B vitamins and a mineral, molybdenum, of which you need a very, very tiny amount. And then zinc and vitamin C. Put your hand up if you've ever heard of serotonin. Yay. So serotonin is a really important neurotransmitter with a number of functions, but one of the biggest ones is that it is part of emotional self-regulation. And if you've ever been in schools in the last 6 years, and you go into a staff room, there's always a big wall about emotional self-regulation and how to help the kids get that. But we want to go a couple more, okay, Kushner? There we go. Everything in yellow is an essential cofactor from the food we eat, all right? And then one of my high school students pointed out to me, the only one ever, Kushner, she goes, Mrs. Hymers, acetyl-CoA is found in every single cell in your body in the mitochondria. I go, yeah, because all of these biochemical processes need those nutrients from food. Next one. But we're also about activity. And the research that Dr. John Rabing has done on Spark about how activity actually makes the neurons have stronger connections. And he has done so much work on it. And part of it was he was a psychiatrist that worked with kids with ADHD. And what he found was if he could get their heart rate up for 10 minutes, they were able to focus better. So here's his research, okay? This is 2 groups of the same group of students. One was sitting quietly and took a test, and they did an MRI of their brain scan. And look, the blue and the green are the least activity. Same group of kids doing walking for 20 minutes, similar test, and look how their brains are on fire with the red. Walking is great activity for us. And this is from a TED Talk that is fascinating. Next one. And so what we decided to do, COVID changed the way that we could deliver our programs, and we really focused on doing Chef on InStep, on building that food literacy skills, financial literacy, employability, and opening it up in the summertime where there are kitchens that are underutilized in Calgary. This was at Scarborough United Church, and we had morning and afternoon classes for kids to learn how to prepare healthy food. Because if you don't know how to prepare the healthy food, if you only know how to call, skip the dishes, you're going to be missing a lot of nutrients. Next one, please. We received generous funding from the Calgary Foundation for a project with Fresh Roots. Fresh Roots is the mobile market that will go into communities. They sell the products 30% under retail. And so we decided that we'd look at doing after-school programming in a number of different settings for this, and they would have the ingredients. What do you notice about these yellow peppers? Are they not perfect? Grade 9 boy, St. Monica's School. I looked at this and I went, oh, you could get a job working, in at a golf course for doing food prep. And he all of a sudden thought about, I could look after myself. In Calgary, you can take a culinary arts course in high school called Dual High School Credit. When you finish that, you can challenge the first year of your Red Seal exam and say, That means you only have to pay for 1 year of school. You will get a red seal that you will have a job for the rest of your life. Next one. This is our poster child, okay? This is Sundance School, a year 15 club in step with the student wellness team. I give them 20 minutes a month, but this is the inspiration of what we want to do with our high school club in step program. These kiddos, we meet with once a month. They've been running a wellness fair for the last 3 years. I'm not allowed to show the video of this young grade 6 boy teaching cultural plates to the rest of the school as they come through. So Club in Step is our direction that we're going next. And this is really about our certificate program of how we want to train other people to take our content, well-respected community members, especially if you have another language that you speak, as well as English, to read, comprehend, and understand, for people to understand why nutrition and activity build better brains. We have level 1, In Step, Eat, Walk, Live, level 2, Chef on In Step, Teen Brain for high school, and we just finished developing early years 0 to 5. What if we could get those parents and children to understand why, and then they will create a change. Our youth engagement is about employability, leadership, mentoring, and getting more knowledge into the community. Next one. And this is why we're doing it this way. We had a Families Matter staff member that took Teen Brain, Chef, and level 1 Eat, Walk, Live, and that individual took Chef on In Step to 400 kids in a year. What if 10 people had that training? 4,000 kids. What if 100 people? 40,000. So we can have a bigger impact. We're a really tiny little charity. Next one. Just some examples. So, Interact Club. I never knew that our club downtown had an Interact Club at Western Canada High School. When I found that out, I said, okay, I want to speak to these high school students. And they came and volunteered with us for doing our Chef on In Step. And then 2 of them said, we want to become In-Steppers. We want to take your certificate program, and they volunteered. Next one. So, since 2008, we've had 340 amazing post-secondary, 240 in Calgary, U of C, SAIT. We just had Bow Valley College in the summertime. Amazing, well-educated people that their degrees are not recognized in Canada, but can do so much for us. And then Mount Royal. Next one. This was done by one of my practicum students. And what he did was he took all the research about why healthy eating and physically active children are more likely to have a healthy weight, less likely to have risky behavior, more likely to go to college, earn more throughout their life, reduce risk of heart disease, and as they grow into adults, they can pass those healthy habits on to their children, which is an intergenerational cycle of reducing chronic disease. When you look at how much we spend on treating, just think of what we could do if we prevented that. Next one. Thank you, all of you, for supporting our Veggie Plant fundraiser that I've been doing with Mar. It is open. We take that money and we put it into birdies for kids that we are able to leverage, and then we can take those funds into our school program. And so it is up, I believe, to purchase. I will leave that up to Mar and Linda to carry on. And next one. 3 stars and a wish. If you want to send me any comments, you can just put it up on that QR code and go, that was great, Deb, and I'm pretty sure I'm close to 20 minutes. Okay, there we go. Any questions, comments? Yes, sir.
So we all have an understanding of what ultra-processed food, boxed food is.
Yeah.
In Canada, we probably spend a fair number of our dollars for vegetables on frozen vegetables.
That's okay. Yeah. 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 So there's a difference. You can talk about it being whole foods, right? Minimally processed, like you've frozen them or you've canned them like canned tomatoes, right? But the ultra-processed food is like on a different planet, right? And it's devoid. Sheila.
Can I just add, typically an ultra-processed food is a product where there's 5 or more ingredients in it.
Yeah.
So if you look on the box and you look at the list of ingredients, if there's 5 or more.
Yeah.
So even some breads that you buy have 5
It is, it's an easy way, yeah, thanks, Joe.
Thanks so much, I love that, and thanks for bringing that message. It's so hard when you try to talk about real foods to people, they just mock it, you know, and there's that whole attitude. I've been thinking about how else do we bring this across the community, that you're trying very hard, but there's still so much resistance.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to my bread. I do this every day, I'm talking to people, and do you have any other magic for me?
So I think part of it is, I mean, we have resources, so when people say, well, Deb, you need to do a longitudinal research study to show that the effectiveness of this following children for 20 years. And my comment is, we have a problem now, we need to do something about it now. 20 years is gonna be way too late. So, I mean, we put these posters up, Joe, and we have them translated into different languages, because it's not just about activity, and it's not just about food, right? It is about sleep, it's about being outdoors, it's about water. And in 2020, we learned social connection, right? COVID taught us how important that was. And we will translate it into different languages until I decided, you know what, I'm gonna double side these and laminate them, and then people can put their language on that matches this. And I think having these reminders, we know that when we go into schools and see these up on the wall, kids are reading this subliminally all the time. The Club on Instep is really teaching how. How can you make healthy food that is inexpensive, uses ingredients that we grow in Canada really cheaply. If you come from Syria, they don't grow carrots in Syria, don't give them to them because they will say that. Marlene and I learned that doing our grocery bags of ingredients down at her church during COVID, and a Syrian father said to us, don't give me carrots, don't give me peanut butter, I don't know what to do with it. Why don't I teach you what to do with it, right?
So can we download these to share with our patients? Like can other people use these? I can share it with all the naturopaths and nutritionists in town.
Yeah, and you and I will chat about this, okay? Because what we really want is we will give these access to this if people take our certificate program that has the neuroscience, the growth mindset. Like, it's not just about nutrition and activity. It is very comprehensive. Sheila.
Just to add to Joe's question, so I think what you do is fantastic. When we look at the determinants of health, like how do you really change, what people at their health practices to make a difference, bend the curve, as they say, on the trajectory of chronic disease that you really well portrayed there, that there's a number of different sort of strategies they're called. Okay, so what Deb is focused on is personal health practices, what you do as an individual. And in the end, it's all about what you do as an individual, right? But what Joe was referring to then is what influences those personal health practices. So how do we really, push things so that those healthy choices are the easier choice? Because the education is great, but I gotta tell you, a lot of people know that, eating at McDonald's isn't a healthy choice, and eating a donut at Tim Hortons isn't a healthy choice, but we're still doing it, right? So how do we, and Joe talked about the, pardon me, but I'll go fast. Joe talked about, the mockery and that sort of thing, and, we all do it, we all know, oh, this is good, and so we, because it's those other things, all of those other forces that are making it difficult. There is the culture around it. We don't joke about smoking anymore. We don't go, well, let's have another cancer stick. We don't joke about it anymore. It's off limits, right? But we joke about nutrition all the time. It still is, as you said, kind of part of the thing. But the big forces that we need to really leverage change are policy changes and what we call the environment. So the environment, we've got food everywhere. Everywhere we go encourages us to eat and eat crappy food. Ultra-processed food is cheaper than healthier food.
Well,
so there's a whole bunch of stuff that we need to do. Yours is part of it, so let's just keep it going.
And thank you, Sheila, for that. The other thing is, there's recent research that's being done, started by the Lancet, looking at whether or not the ultra-processed food actually makes people eat more food in calories than it does. So I can send you that research, that's just ongoing, that's happening right now. Yes, sir? Oh, Rob, yes,
So I work with an organization that serves the poor and working poor,
yeah,
who come to us seeking various forms of assistance, whether it be food, rent, or whatever. I know from that we have a very large demographic in our society of people who are just hanging on.
yeah,
And if they have anything left after paying the rent, it's not very much.
yeah,
And they buy cheap processed food, the
Yeah.
cheapest stuff they can find. Many of them know that they're not eating well.
Yeah.
They can't do anything about it. We look at elections, frequently, the top issue, or one of the top issues, is affordability. And I haven't heard anybody come up with an answer to that, but there is, and we tend to be in a pretty sheltered situation, you know, people in this club and people that are in our circle. But there's a lot of people out there who are not eating well and really can't do anything about it. Do you have thoughts on that, Deb?
So part of our Chef on Instep that we got the funding with was that we have a bag of ingredients for kids to take home to make the same recipe. And we get our recipe per serving down to $1.30, and we're using those foods, and we depend upon the children to take that knowledge. Now, I cannot help with the affordability, Rob, but if we were able to prevent chronic disease, we would have way more money that we could distribute to the people that need more income. But that takes time. I don't have the solution for doing that. Part of what we do with Fresh Roots is that the mobile market will come into the community, and that's where I'll be this afternoon, is looking at YCC in Greater Forest Lawn. They have a garage that we're gonna open up the market there that will feed Valley View, Ian Bazalgette, Holy Cross, Muddier. Thanks.
Deb, thanks so much for your passion and commitment. Your programs are inclusive and incredibly impressive, and now I can stand up because I know what ultra-processed food is.
Yeah, because I know you wouldn't be eating that much of it, Mar. Okay.
And we'd like to present you with a certificate of appreciation. A donation has been made in your name, and to Polio Plus
Perfect.
for the vaccination of 20 children.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Can someone take a picture?
Oh,
Can someone take a picture of us? Thank you, Commissioner.